the foundation and the core that is currently being discussed in the tech is the ChatGPT. Everybody is using it.
Guys, if Tajamul gets beat, I'm not the reason.
We'll say at least we'll get a draw.
All right, maybe we found a bug in ChatGPT. It looks
I
like we
guess.
reached that time. No, we've not, because I won.
It looks like we are reached a tie. Yeah, there's a potential for drawback.
Okay,
We can report it.
And again, OpenAI, if you're listening, please fix this. This is embarrassing. Thank you. Do you think ChatGPT is more than, already has more capabilities than what we see, the paid or free version? Or like OpenAI knows something that we don't know?
Oh, as of now, you are saying like something they have not released it.
Yeah, maybe they have not released it. They're not even comfortable putting it out. What do you think?
There were some rumors that have been going around, like ChatGPT.
So for the first episode of ATTalks, we have something really special for you guys. Today we are going to discuss the hotness in the tech. Probably all of you who know this podcast or have clicked on the link know what we are going to discuss. It's going to be ChatGPT. Tajamal, what do you have to say about that?
The foundation and the core that is currently being discussed in the tech is the ChatGPT. Everybody is using it. So we'll go through how you can access ChatGPT, what are the advantages you can take, what are the concerns that are currently going on, what is the background of ChatGPT. We'll discuss all that in this first episode of ATTalks.
Yes, correct. And one of the things that for people who don't know what ChatGPT, I'm sure like 90% of people, I'm sure you know what ChatGPT is. But for people who do not know ChatGPT, and probably just click on the link because you found this podcast, maybe something interesting to watch. ChatGPT is basically like Google, but on steroids, essentially.
Exactly. So it's something like you want something out of it, you can access it anytime. Everything is at the table. You just click, type something, and click, and everything is presented in different varieties.
Correct. I agree. So for people who don't know, it's a generative AI. Now, what generative AI is, I don't want to go to specifics about details yet, but I'm sure in the podcast we will go in the details. But it's basically you can type something to it like a chat bot, and it will respond to you in great detail and with like great, almost like in an intelligent way, correct? You can give it some maybe math problem to spit out an answer. You can give it some programming problems, which I personally tried. It can spit out answers. You can give it basically any. You might even try to solve like a JEE paper from it, and hopefully it might come up with the answers for that. So you can essentially think about Google, but with all the nonsense of
that is removed.
Removed, exactly. Of clicking the links, digging through the answers. It basically comes up with the answer itself. That's what ChatGPT is in a nutshell. How it works, what it is technically, we'll discuss that hopefully through the podcast. Tajamal, what do you have to say?
So basically, let's go for, in the history back when it all started in the 90s. So the company of OpenAI, basically they started with a simple chatbot where they trained a simple model with some sentences where they can respond to a person. And to their surprise, they found that surprising, people are getting emotionally attached to the chat. They are asking some personal, deep questions. So that they got them thinking like, let's make an interactive AI. Earlier, it was just.
And sorry to cut you. When is this? When are we talking about? Like I don't know. Like
so this probably in the 80s.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, when they started, it was with the notion like how to make people customized AI. What it was called back then. So now when they started it, they found people are getting emotionally attached. So they train the model in a way it's giving individual attention to the people. So that was the important key point, and I would say a turning point. In the AI. So then they took some models that were very biased and removed the bias, dropped the models. It got trained. GPT 3.3 came. GPT 3.5 came, which is the background of ChatGPT, the topic which we are discussing right now.
Correct.
And recently, GPT 4 has came, which has around, I guess, they are releasing around 1 trillion parameters on which it has been trained. Although the models they are not released. So this was the simple background on how ChatGPT has followed and what it has actually achieved till now, right?
Correct.
So now we can say, So you can add, Akhil, you can add to it.
Yeah, I can certainly add. I mean, I'm not like too familiar about the technical aspects. Obviously, I've done work in AI, but ChatGPT currently has for the viewers who might be interested in trying it out. ChatGPT currently has like a free version also, and there is like a paid version also, if I'm not wrong, right?
Right.
The
So
free
basically,
version,
they recently
yeah.
released it. Although when ChatGPT was initially released,
Mhm.
as I mentioned, it runs on GPT 3.5 version, right?
The free version, right?
So yeah, exactly. So they
Mhm.
were just, it's a myth. I don't know how much sure it is and how much truth is behind the fact.
Uh,
And they quote, we are just collecting the data,
mhm.
and for the 4 5 months they collected the data from the users,
Mhm.
and then they released GPT 4. And
Correct.
we can say the paid version or GPT plus, what we call, is
Mhm.
having a background of GPT 4, where you can
Correct.
interact in more. It gives you more precise answers.
Correct. Correct.
There is a lot of various upgradations that have been from GPT 5, which we'll be discussing in due time, right?
Correct. Correct. There's a lot of things happening, but we might even try to maybe show ChatGPT. But for the users, like you can ask it a lot of questions. First of all, I personally want to share sort of my, because I'm coming from a programming point of view. I don't know what other people use it for. And if you see on the site of ChatGPT, there are like so many examples. They explain quantum computing in simple terms. Got any creative ideas? It's also a creative AI because obviously it can generate text that you might have never seen before. And it's not like
Exactly,
you
that is
can.
the key point. So
Yeah.
basically, they are using this. Earlier there were LST models to predict. Now they're using transformer models,
Mhm.
where you generate words based on the context, right?
Mhm.
Whatever the context you're giving. Suppose you're giving, give me a tell me how to prepare a certain dish. So it will collect all the data that it has been trained, and it will generate on its own. So it
Mhm.
has that, we can say, a thinking capability, where it collects and it generates something new out of it. So you can maybe, you create a new dish in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
local
exactly.
area.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of generates text, and if you ask the same question multiple times, it gives 10 different answers. Like, it's like how a human kind of does a lot of things. For example, you can ask it to make a like poem, and it'll come up with a give it some context, and it'll come up with a poem, which actually is hard to even detect because it has never like this. The poem that it comes up with is probably something based on like the combinations that it can sort of generate out of what it has been trained on. It might have never been seen before. So that's something that's really interesting. But coming to the point of like how I have used ChatGPT, because I'm again saying I'm coming from a programming point of view, and in the past, I think 3 to 4 months, I have used ChatGPT in a lot of ways with regards to computer program. For example, I give it some kind of problem, it comes up with some code. That's kind of very interesting how it does it, and it really understands things. You tell it,
Although,
you just
yeah, the people say it's boilerplate code and it's not.
if something is wrong with the code, for example, which I actually tried in my experience. If something is wrong with the code, I can tell it that this is the error that I'm getting, and it'll kind of correct itself. I'm not sure if you tried
Right,
it.
exactly.
That's
And
kind of
it gives you a
crazy.
message like, I
Yeah,
apologize, my last
yeah,
answer was
exactly,
not right.
exactly. That corrects myself. So I've actually gotten a lot of things to work. Uh, I've actually gotten a lot of things to work, like just by going back and forth and telling it that this is the error that I'm getting, and it kind of comes up with an answer to that. So how have you been using ChatGPT, Tajam, if at all?
So yeah, so from in my domain, you usually yeah, you get a lot of bugs, in the machine
Uh-huh.
learning code or deep learning
Correct.
code.
Uh-huh.
So basically, usually I would say, in earlier experience, what we used to do is, suppose some organization, say
Uh-huh.
Facebook AI, has released a
Correct.
repository, a code, and a new model has been released. So when we are fine tuning it on our local systems or servers, we were facing a lot of issues. Everybody faces, right?
Correct. Correct.
So what the norm was, we used to, in GitHub, we used to, send a request that this is the bug we're getting. They used to, first verify it and then send it to a particular user, and then the moderator would, see what is the problem and then ask for specifications. It used to take, two,
It
three
used to
weeks.
take time. Correct. Yeah.
Exactly, two,
100%.
3 weeks for sure, right?
Mm.
And it,
Correct.
me in the meantime, we were able, some issues were resolved by our
Resolve
own,
some not.
right? Now the case is it's totally different now.
Mhm.
You find a bug, you get any error, you just share it with the chat GPT. It will tell you to the bitwise, to the
Uh-huh.
bit level, where the error is and
Uh-huh.
how to fix it there,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And this is the one of the, I think, one of the biggest advantages that the researchers are, that are getting benefited by this chat GPT. So
Mhm.
this is one of my personal experience. A lot of time has been saved, and a bit of understanding has been developed. So
Mhm.
because it gives you explanation.
Mhm.
Earlier, it was not explanation. Only the correct, what is the correct thing to
Yeah,
do,
when
that
is the
was
correct
explained
code?
to
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
right?
It also gives
Now
you
we can, even
detailed
relate to the
explanation.
code, do some modifications, understand it more precisely.
Mhm.
So that is one thing I would like to add.
So from a research point of view, a researcher will benefit a lot just by getting work done quickly by GT when it comes to fixing a bit of code, which is just going to be maybe the
Exactly,
same
exactly,
fix in Stack Overflow as well. So to
exactly,
summarize it, researchers are benefiting in a way that they are able to get the debugging kind of situation going very fast and very in a very
exactly.
cheap manner also. So I actually I also used to get a lot of since I work on this platform called, and I used to get a lot of researchers coming up with bugs that are basically nothing to do with the research itself. Maybe some Python list is maybe it's not reading the object property or something. So those kinds of simple things. But I think once ChatGPT has been put in place, those things are actually going down, and people are now coming up with requests that have involved code written by ChatGPT, and then asking them to kind of fix it for them. And this is I'm talking about the platform that I kind of have worked for in the past. But anyway, coming to the point, I think we all might be interested in, Tajamul also, me also, is about the safety of this thing.
Exactly. So, that is the, hot topic, I would say,
Yes, correct.
in this
Uh,
domain. People usually, they say, like, back in the 90s when the computers were introduced, they all say it's going to take jobs. Rather, it created new jobs, right?
mhm.
So, I would say the best thing would be, there is a, we have to live with it. This is a new
Mhm.
tech. This is not going anywhere in the coming time. So you have to adapt yourself.
Correct.
Make it as a skill. Like you
Uh-huh.
should be telling it on your resume that I know how to use ChatGPT properly, right?
It should be a skill like
Yeah,
Googling.
yeah, exactly. Back in the
Uh,
days, we were saying like Googling is a skill,
yeah,
right?
Googling is a skill. Yeah,
So that
that's an interesting question.
same is the case with the ChatGPT. You should know how to get the best out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mix it with the, some now it's not like you are asking it to write the code or do your task from scratch.
yeah.
That is not the best way you can
Mhm.
get. You have to do it on your own,
Mhm.
but it will, as I said, it will save you a lot of time. It can help you create more progressive stuff, more,
Mhm.
I would say novel stuff, but with the proper direction from your side,
From the
right?
direction of the human, correct, yeah. So
Exactly.
people might companies. I'm not sure, like if you agree, but I think companies in the future might hire people who know how to get most of ChatGPT, right? And that kind of
Exactly.
maybe mix will stay there
As I said, it's
for a
not
long
going
time.
anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Although some companies, they have a negative impact of ChatGPT, like Check, as you all know. Their
Yeah,
their
Jack,
profit.
exactly. That's the kind of platform I also kind of know. I'm
Yeah.
kind of
So their profit
familiar with.
margin dropped by 40%. Platforms like ChatGPT, Stack Overflow, Medium, these all are affected because, as I said, you find you are facing a problem. You use to search it, then you will not get a proper answer, but some variation of an answer would
Mhm.
be present. Now
Mhm.
you can get exact answers, exact explanation to what you are asking. So
Mhm.
this is you are getting a personal, I would say, chatbot or whatever you can call it, a personal machine for which you
Mhm.
can, which is available 24/7. Although
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are some glitches which I have heard recently, people saying like, it's not responsive for over time. Although I think they have fixed it now.
And I
So
think the paid version it's been fixed, but in the free version,
exactly,
yes, there are some. Sometimes it doesn't even correct. Sometimes it just puts you in the queue because of some.
exactly, due to the load they're facing, right?
Yeah. So actually, ChatGPT has grown a lot of like, for example, it has grown tremendously, like more than any company probably that we have seen. Instagram probably, I think it has beaten the record of Instagram, in terms of how many users it has gotten over the period of time. So it's
I think
probably
it has
the
beaten up most of the social media
yeah
apps.
social media
I guess in
exactly.
5 days or it was able to reach 1 million.
Yeah, so that's
So
actually
as far
never
as I
heard, never
remember,
heard of before,
yeah.
that kind of situation. So Bing is also kind of Bing search by Microsoft is also taking use of ChatGPT
Oh, yeah.
to kind of
Actually,
do
there's
their
a share percentage of Microsoft in OpenAI's project. So they have integrated this with, Edge browser, that is Bing. So I
yeah
am a
exactly
particular user, although it's not so much accurate or so much powerful as compared to ChatGPT, but it's fairly, good. It gives you whenever you do a web search, it gives you a customized version also, like
correct yeah.
his
So
own
ChatGPT
version,
also
its
has
own
correct
version, right? So
yeah yeah, yeah.
suppose you are saying
Correct.
what is a process, it will give you a particular answer based on its own thinking and based on its own knowledge, right?
Correct. So I think what OpenAI has is also the API for if some developers are maybe listening. They do have APIs available for you to try out, and you can kind of customize the model in such a way that it kind of becomes relevant for your project. Let's say there's some kind of business, or I don't know, Bing does it very well. Other business, like for example, Khan Academy also has a chatbot on their website currently that's using ChatGPT under the hood. So lots of new companies kind of integrating ChatGPT for the support kind of situation where they're
Yeah,
trying to,
so actually, one of my friends, he's in Infosys. So he said their revenue has increased by 25% by just in using ChatGPT
oh,
automation.
that is interesting.
That is a lot. A company with the size of
So
Infosys,
you mean on the support,
70%.
like, or what, conversion, in getting conversions, or I
Yeah,
can.
in getting, in daily tasks,
Ah,
whatever, right?
ah, ah.
So they're using this tech, they're getting along with this tech, and that is, I think, the best way to,
To go about
do
it. Yeah,
right
I
now.
also think, yeah, that's I can agree. Just let it be a kind of extension of the human kind of
Right.
capability. Yeah, that's correct. So Tajamal, do you think we should kind of give a little demo of ChatGPT to people who might not have tried it? What do you think?
Actually, yeah, that would be a best thing to do right now, so
Yeah, I
that they
think
get a blend of what we're talking about and how interactive it is, and what are the
exactly.
potential
Correctly. I
capabilities,
also
right?
think so. I also think so. So, if first of all, for the users who have not tried ChatGPT, I'm not sure which category of users that might be. First of all, because I think most of the people might have already tried it, but
Maybe
some of you,
school kids, or although they are right now doing all the assignments by ChatGPT, that's a great thing to
what do
discuss.
you think about that? That the assignments being done from this. What
I
do you?
think that's a violation of code of conduct. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Although, but one another thing, another dimension from which we can see is the course of assignments that were given before. That needs to
Uh-huh.
be changed up, because
Uh-huh.
it was just used to go search Google and then write something out of your own. Right
Correct.
now, it's getting much easier, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
So
true.
I would
That's true.
say the
It's
assignment
just
should
copy
be more
paste basically.
technical, should be
Mhm.
more conceptual, so that a person is trying to answer it on its own. He
On its
doesn't,
own.
or she doesn't even, have the urge to go to ChatGPT, right?
ChatGPT, correct. Yeah. Yeah, but I think ChatGPT can do I mean, it can do basically anything. Let's be honest. It can currently,
Exactly.
yeah, it can basically do anything. So, what do you think we should ask it, Tajin, first of all? I'm not sure like how to
So,
do this. Just,
maybe
yeah,
give a users of a taste of HTML or web development.
yeah. Why not? Let's just what we do. First of all, for the users who have not tried, I'm just gonna move my camera a little bit down here. You can access ChatGPT from this link, chat.openai.com. Once you sign up, I think you can sign up with Google. If you have a Google account, you can just sign up with a Google account. And once
A
you
little
do,
trick here: you can use multiple accounts and then use ChatGPT simultaneously. That can do your multilingual tasks at the same time.
oh, that's also interesting. I've never actually thought about it, but that's something. There you go from Tajamun. You got the little tip to use
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
because
Maybe,
there is I guess a restriction limit of number of queries you can ask for 1 hour. I
yeah.
guess
I think there is
if you
definitely in the
repeatedly
free
ask
version.
it
Correct.
for 1 hour, it will say your queries for 1 hour is maximum, so you use it after some time.
Correct. Correct.
So,
Definitely in the free version. I mean, there are some limitations, but if you pay, I think it's like $20 a month. I'm not sure like how much is it. Yeah, $20 per month, which is around
right.
20 times
So,
like 80.
but
Yeah.
I would recommend this to users. Like, if you are directly want to go to ChatGPT Pro, that's not a good viable option, because
Ah,
first customize yourself with the free version, and
correct.
if
Correct.
you have particular necessity, you're as I said, it's running on GPT-4. It will be more powerful for sure.
This one. So the upgraded version is running on GPT-4, correct?
Exactly, the
Correct. Yeah,
GPT-4
yeah.
version, right?
Yeah. I have not tried that. To be honest, I have not tried it. I might try it. I think we might.
Let me give
Uh,
you a comparison. GPT 3.5 is working on 1.3 billion parameters, and
uh,
GPT 4 is working on 1 trillion parameters. That
One
has
trillion. So
crossed
that's
the
a,
mark,
yeah.
right? So you can see the enormous data it has been trained on, right?
Yeah, correct, correct. So it has been, yeah. So yeah, we'll come to that. I think we'll come to that because I want to ask you this because I kind of want to know how these things are actually, doing what they're doing. Just a brief sort of thing.
Great,
But
great, great.
again,
Yeah, we'll discuss. First,
yeah,
give
we'll
the
discuss
users
that.
a
But
taste of
before we kind of go into
ChatGPT.
that, I think we should ask it something. Let me first of all, just ask it something very simple that so that the users can understand like what it can do. For example, again from the programming point of view, I don't know what people use it for. For example, you could ask it to write an article about how Chat GPT could be a danger to people's
Lives.
jobs. All right, let's say this. And if it's working, see, it just comes up with something like it just generates this whole text for you. This is how it works. People who have not seen it, I'm not sure who are the people who have not seen it, but
So
if
basically,
somebody,
we'll discuss it further. It's called the sequential data generation, right?
okay,
So based on the earlier word, it will generate the new text, right?
based on the earlier word, it'll generate the new text.
Exactly. So
Uh-huh.
if a sentence that there is a boy, it will consider the weight of a there and then generate is. and accordingly, based on the context, that's why you will see grammatical mistakes are very less in case of ChatGPT,
Interesting.
right?
So you see, it came up with an article about. It's a simple article. I mean, I could just right now I could just maybe copy it and put it on my blog, for example. So that's how simple it can be. Because maybe if you're kind of going through, and it's going to be very accurate. If you read it, you'll see that it kind of makes sense. Everything makes sense. I'm not going to read it obviously right now, but everything makes sense. You'll see that it's grammatically accurate, as Tajam said, and everything is kind of it just starts very beautifully, and then it goes to this kind of this mid section, and then it just ends. You see, it says in conclusion. Just how a human would maybe write it and kind of squeeze it nicely to be a great article. I could even, if you don't like it, for example, you could even ask it, for example, the kind of context thing that there is, Tajam, correct? There's a context that it kind of understands, right?
Exactly. We can see it
I
has
could
been
just say make it a little longer, for example, make it a little longer. I could just say that. I
Although
understand that.
I would like to add here the limitation of ChatGPT is 500 words as of now, but in
Okay, 500 words. Okay.
GPT it's around, I guess, 4 to 5,000 words they have
Mhm.
edited. So you
In
can
GPT
see
4,
how
you
much
mean?
amount of data, yeah, in the pro version, how much
Okay.
amount of data you can generate in a single iteration or in a single query.
In a Singapore, all
Right.
right. That's
So lines
that's
of codes are also restricted in 3.5, but although the daily tasks that are usually you can cover that up with that limit.
Hmm. So as you can see right now, it made it a little longer. I think that's right. It's not making it too long, but yeah, I think it's doing it. It's actually making just a tiny bit longer than what it generated previously. You can see that it did understand the context. I'm talking about this particular article. It's actually making it.
And one more thing I would like to add here is, suppose this is a history, this is the tab that you are working in, and suppose you have written something in the first query, and then you have to relate something with that first query. Just tell them earlier I have mentioned this, in this line. It will automatically see where it has been mentioned. It has a kind of a vague memory where it can compare, and you will give you related answers with respect to what you have
What you
discussed
that's what I'm saying.
earlier.
It kind of
Right?
understands the context.
That is
Obviously,
what Google was lagging. You cannot relate
really, yeah,
you cannot relate two searches, right?
exactly. But Google Assistant kind of does that, but not this good. Google Assistant kind of understands content, but not
Exactly.
really. It doesn't give you that generative power which this has. This is like much superior than what would
Exactly.
actually be there. But having said that, yeah. So once you ask them, for example, a specific thing, I'm gonna move my camera just a little bit. Maybe I'll move them here, like Tajamul and me also for now. What I'm gonna do is, you see, there are these little things on the left, which actually it kind of remembers the conversation here. So if you come back like 10 days later and you click on a specific,
Exactly. You can visit back
you
to the
can visit
history,
back
what I
exactly.
have searched, what are the answers. You can compare, or
Correct, correct. And if you
it's
start
a
typing there, it's
database.
going to
It's your
understand the
personal database, right?
context. Yes, yes, correct,
It's a very good thing that they're adding these features over the period of
correct.
time, right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. For example, now let's say this is about the generative power that it has when it comes to writing articles. For example, this is a fine article. You can add a couple images, couple links, and this would be a great article. In fact, I'm gonna actually save it, to be honest. Right now, maybe I'll just work what it kind of generated. See, because right now I don't have a lot of time to read it. But yeah, this is actually super powerful when it comes to a lot of things like writing a lot of text.
All right.
Next thing, what do you want to try, Rajat?
So,
Maybe some kind
as I
of
told,
code?
let's show them how the main the power of ChatGPT is with the code,
Yeah,
how it
with the code.
shuttles,
Correct. Yeah,
right?
100%. I agree.
So tell them you can ask some query regarding the HTML. Give a piece of code to generate the website of ATTalks, maybe.
80 dot, beautiful. Yeah, why not? So let's give it some context first of all. What am I going to do? I'm going to start a new chat just for the sake of it. I don't have to do it. It's going to automatically pick up the content, but I'm going to start a new chat. I'm going to say that okay. Uh, so I so we have a podcast called ATTalks, which I'm actually a little bad at writing spelling, but okay, which talks about tech and beyond. So
Right.
could you generate? Again, I'm not a person who is like super familiar with how to use ChatGPT in a sort of the pro way, because I'm just using it like a normal user would. For example, could you generate a
Yeah,
website?
starting with this is meant for
Exactly.
users, and they can get to know how
80
in a deeper version, right?
Correct. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Maybe people, if you do like a course on ChatGPT, which a lot of people have, so it's kind of giving me this little thing. I'm gonna in a while ask it to generate HTML code for that, which is actually super powerful if you see. So it's giving me like what you can put it like footer, header, and all of that. Of course, the website can be customized and expanded upon. So it's giving me a little basic website here. So it's saying, in header, you can put like a logo, and then, so I'm going to ask it to actually write HTML. So write actual HTML for this. So you see now it's going to generate a little page. So you see how it gives you a nice little window, if you can see.
Right. So this is and there is an option of copying the code. So you can directly just click
Exactly,
on
that's
that,
what I'm
and
saying.
you can
Literally
copy the
paste
code.
this.
Everything is at your.
And exactly, if you have a logo.
See how the ChatGPT is considering the indentations and
Exactly, that's why it's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
the you can say the comments and the actual code, right? So
Correct.
this is one of the best things that I have seen. ChatGPT has been done.
It's still picking up episode 1, the future of AI. I don't know how it thought that we are going
I
to
think
this.
we should rest and let the ChatGPT work for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we should do right now. So it's coming up with maybe some big ideas, the ethics of big data, the promise. I'm not sure if
Right.
we do that, but yeah, sure, why not? So as you can see, no, it's kind of doing it. Something that I've noticed, Tajim, I'm not sure if you have noticed, sometimes it's doing this thing and it just stops. Have you noticed that or not?
Exactly. So there are two things. So suppose there are various reasons I would say I would like to quote here is one, there can be server error. Because we are the clients, that is there is a main server.
Correct,
We're connected. Maybe there is
Exactly.
a
It's
server
happening on
client error.
HTTP. That's correct.
Another thing is, as I told you, there are limitation of code, right? Limitation of lines of code ChatGPT can write. Maybe
I think it did
sometimes
stop.
this gets violated. Although this is a fundamental problem that many people who have been using ChatGPT have raised up is that while writing a structured data, it basically stops. It cannot write structured data in a particular content.
What do
Although
you mean
you can
structured data? Again, just to
yeah,
cut
I
you
would
off.
say like when you are, suppose I will give a reference of machine learning. You're writing a model. First you write the model, then you write the data set loader. How you will load the data. Then you write the hyperparameter tunings, right? Then you write how train data is going. Then you write the epochs, and if you will tell the model to write the whole code, it will not. It will it will stop at the maybe in some line while running the epoch, right? It's not. It will not give a structured code, data how you will write and how maybe it has a
I
capacity,
understand.
but
Okay. So one
that
after
is the
the other
case
types. Okay, got it.
exactly. So that is the case that that has been raised up. Although maybe as I told GPT-4, it will be more accurate and more powerful. It will be able to write sequential and long structured data over the period of time.
So here we see, I mean, something has happened. I'm not sure what has happened, but it actually stopped here.
Although there is a hack there. You can tell it to continue your code from where you have stopped. It will
I can maybe
basically continue. It
yeah,
will
I can maybe
definitely
copy
continue.
this code, and actually you can paste code if you have some error in your code. You can literally paste that code and just
Exactly.
say maybe I can do this.
Even you can ask ChatGPT to write what are the errors that you can find in the code. It will give you
Correct.
very
That's
good
what I'm saying.
errors,
Yeah,
right?
it's actually giving it
So
a
that
bit
your
clear.
understanding of code is clear.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So it actually does continue. If you see that I gave it this code, it actually does continue this code, which is actually super nice. I can just write this whole thing. Like you see, it just does it. Actually, just also adds the style sheet, which is interesting. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
one thing I
currently,
would
I
like to
think.
add is, the best thing that ChatGPT is, right now is the code explanation, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Code
the way
explanation.
it explains code,
Uh-huh.
it's the best what you can get anywhere, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and there are no potential, I would say, competitors of ChatGPT.
Uh-huh.
Although they
That's
are
true.
now they're coming, but the
Uh-huh.
scale at the scale at which ChatGPT is that the OpenAI platform is working. I don't think it's comparable with any other around the globe, right?
Correct. Yeah, I agree fully. So this is doing its thing. Like it's actually adding style sheets, adding styles for social icons. I mean, it's just generating this back to back, which is very interesting. Actually, it did generate the whole thing. Now we have the whole page. If we put it in VS Code, we can actually write them. So this is the code that it actually adds to the code that it stopped working on. So this from here, I think, yeah, this is the code. So this is actually pretty interesting. I mean, it just generated the whole page, basically, the front page, the index page of
Right.
the thing. So you can literally just copy it and put it in your file. And hopefully, it should work, right? And if there are some errors, you can literally tell it, I'm getting this error or this is not working. It's going to go back, reiterate, and do its thing. Probably HTML is not maybe the best example. What do you think? Because it's a
Yeah,
lot
let's
of
have
code.
some fun. You can have, you can play games with, ChatGPT.
Really?
That's one of, yeah. You can play quiz games. Guess who I am? You can ask that. and you can ask. There
So
are
how do we play
various
a guessing
games.
game? Let's play a guessing. How do we play a guessing? Like guess the number maybe?
So yeah, you can you can particularly give questions like give give a vague description of something and tell the ChatGPT guess what I am
Oh,
talking
interesting,
about.
interesting, interesting. Let's
Yeah,
try that. Let's try that. So what should we do? I've not tried this before, so you're gonna have to guide me a little bit.
you can ask. You have to first give the reference like we are about to play.
Okay, so let's
With
let's
a
let's
normal
so
person, you have to ask like we are playing guess who I am or guess what I am,
guessing
right?
game. All right, so we're about to play guessing. Let me tell it. Let me just yeah. Okay, that
And
sounds fun.
it
What
can
kind of guessing?
it will play out in the reverse of it. It can give you some queries, and if you answer it right, it will tell you whether
Oh,
you're right or
interesting,
right.
interesting. That's super cool. Let's so it says what kind of guessing game is it? You have to guess the object
Which
based
I am referring or
yeah
which I
based
am
on the
talking
description
about.
on the description based on the description. Let me say I'm gonna think of a torch maybe torch is something that I can So please give me the first description. So what is it? It is cylindrical, cylindrical. How do you spell cylindrical? Cylindrical. I'm not sure. Let me just use a little trick here, which is this autocorrect. It is cylindrical and has a bulb.
A battery inside or
Oh yeah, it has a battery inside. All right, battery inside. I think he's gonna guess it. It's like, ooh, so it says it's a flash. Right.
right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
So
this
that
is
is the generative power of ChatGPT. We can continue with it. It's having
yeah,
some problem.
correct, correct. So Tajamul, again, this is again for people, oh, glad I'm guessing. This is actually
I mean,
super fun. So you can
you
actually
can
do a
play
lot of
quiz
things with it.
games. Tic Tac you can play.
Tic tac
You
toe,
can
we can also.
yeah,
Okay,
you can play it.
interesting, interesting. I
So
would say
there are
how
a
we
lot
would do
of
that. Is it gonna give like a grid or something?
exact. No, it can. I guess you have to
Okay, I think I'm just gonna ask it. Let's play
it
tic
will
tac
give
toe.
you the grid in terms of code. In the command prompt kind of a thing. Right.
Okay, let me see. Let's play tic tac toe. So again, this is for people who have never tried ChatGPT, or you can like even tell us in the comments what you use ChatGPT for. Because people, I don't know, like people must be using it for all sorts of different things. I don't know, like
Yeah,
I cannot
anything.
imagine how
Family
people like
problems from buying groceries and
to,
discussing real life
to
problems.
writing maybe love letters to
Anything.
their loved ones. I'm
Right.
not sure. Like maybe people might be even using it for.
Recently, I
So
was discussing, some couple was discussing, they had a fight and the apology letter was written by ChatGPT. Again, everything was written by ChatGPT until
there you go.
everything got sorted, right?
There you go. There you go. I mean, yeah, there you go. So when you're like super lazy, but you love your other half, so you can use ChatGPT. There you go. So you're saying, let's play. Would you like to go cross or zero? I'm gonna say it should be okay. It's actually okay. Let me go with cross. So where do I have to put it? Understand?
See, I just told you it will
Oh, it's gonna
play it
give me.
accordingly and it will update this over the period of iterations, right?
All right, so it's giving me a little description exactly. So it's gonna give me. So it kind of makes sense. So I'm gonna say, okay, rows number 1 to 3 from the top to bottom. Okay.
Maybe for the users, you can tell them what are the rows and what are the
Yeah,
columns.
maybe. So I think what I understand is this is the first row, second row, third row. So it says if you want to cross in the middle. So I would say like 1 2 1 2.
That is
Why would I say 1 2? But one second.
that is the middle one.
So it's like 0 1 2. Is it counting like computer science way? Or?
First is row and second is column second, right? That is row one, column second. Yeah, one, two.
Okay, the first is row. Okay, so column
Yeah.
row one. Sorry, how what?
It will be like here. I cannot point it, I guess.
No, I don't think you
So
can. So let me think. Let me think. Because I should be able to. So it says please choose where you would like to place your
consider
text.
it as a rows and columns, simple as an array,
Okay,
right?
let me say one and
It's a
one.
three
What
cross three
what
array.
would
It's a
one and
3D
one mean?
array.
1 1 would mean here.
Yeah,
The top left.
it will be one. It will be one comma one, right? Row
Yeah.
one, column one,
I think let me see 1 1. See where that is. So yeah, exactly. So this
right?
row one,
That way,
column one. Okay,
right?
interesting.
It will play on its own now. It has
You
played
think we
on
can beat
two
it,
comma
Tajam?
two.
So where should we put it?
I think on the cross, on the opposite side of the cross, we are already put.
You mean
I
here,
3,3. Yeah,
three,
3,3,
3,3?
3,3.
You mean there or there?
3,3. You write 3,3. I will tell you where.
All right, all right. If guys, if Tajamul gets beaten, I'm not the reason. Please,
We'll say
please.
at least we'll get a draw. That's for sure.
All right, all right. We'll get a draw, please. Hopefully. All right, beautiful. I like that I've kind of paints it almost.
Yeah, it's going to be draw. You can put it at 2-3. Yeah, 2-3. Yeah.
2 3 like that, like here. All right, let's think. If it's not 2-3, we are going to be in a lot of trouble in
No,
front of
that's
a lot of
totally.
people.
It's a draw for sure.
Okay, then where is it to put it? Actually, let us win, isn't it?
I don't think so. You just again playing play 1-2.
Why want to? Because I think I can. We can put it here, and we can beat
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
them. So, guys, we still have hope. ChatGPT cannot beat us in the tic tac toe. But anyway, I don't know. Okay, so where should we put it? 1-3 then? Yeah,
Maybe. Yeah. Obviously. Let's see
1-3.
what is the response. How good it is able to handle the defeat.
It's my turn. It's not your turn because I already won. All right, maybe we found a bug in ChatGPT. Who knows? It looks
I
like we
guess
reached that time. No, we've not because I won.
it looks like we are reached a tie. Yeah, there's a potential for drawback.
Okay, there's a
We can
drawback.
report it.
And again, OpenAI, if you're listening, please fix this. This is embarrassing. Thank you. Okay. So anyway, there are some, I don't know, some drawbacks to this. But anyway, I don't know why it got a little confused there. But anyway,
But see the
I like
way
the
it has
interface. I mean, I like
interacted
the,
the tic tac
yeah, yeah,
toe,
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
fun.
explaining it well. Yeah.
It's very
So I
good,
had
right?
actually made this game in C, so it's kind of giving me those vibes where you can, kind of put the number where you can write, and then it can, maybe the logic where it checks who won is not there. Who knows? But anyway, so coming to the point, Tajamul, of this AI kind of, safety and how people can kind of misuse it in today's world, which is something we should discuss, obviously, because
Right. So,
uh,
like in Chat GPT, what I have seen so far was, there it can be there are pros and cons always, right?
yeah,
So,
correct.
think it of that way. Maybe some user is a hacker or attacker.
Mhm.
Uh, he or she can take the potential advantage, right,
Uh-huh.
of using the Chat GPT in a bad way. Let's start with the fundamental reason. Suppose a user starts a DDoS attack, right, where you repeatedly, attack the server until you go through, right?
Yeah, until basically the resources of the server are exhausted, it's no longer able to, serve the requests which may
It's
not be
not able to
malicious.
find, you flood it
Yeah,
with the requests,
yeah,
and then
exactly. So it
you're
kind of
not
gets
able to find
busy
the valid
basically.
users, right?
Exactly.
Let's not go that deep.
Yeah,
We can have
exactly.
a separate podcast
Correct,
on
correct. Yeah,
separate
100%,
episode on
100%,
that.
100%.
So I was telling, like, based on the security reasons, one of the key concerns is the ethical issues, right?
Mhm.
The privacy issues. So whether our data is being used, although OpenAI's clear statement is that we're not using the data of the users. We have a separate database,
Mhm.
but who knows, right? Back end we don't know.
Yeah, yeah, we don't
So
know.
again, the privacy concern is it's biased.
Mhm.
Whenever the data comes in, human data is always biased, right? So there is always bias present in the data. So coming to the concerns again with the privacy and how ChatGPT interacts, it has a certain way, and you can take the negative out of it, right? You can ask, in terms of school education, although our education system is not structured as well yet, so people can take, misuse this ChatGPT for their assignments or
Assignments,
even
exactly. Yes,
papers or
yes.
whatever,
Mhm.
right? They can frame something which is not actually present there, right, by the use of ChatGPT. So these are the potential disadvantages, but I think these all can be, they can be, side off, but with a proper guidance.
Mhm.
If a student is using a ChatGPT, I would recommend the same teacher to frame the paper according to ChatGPT,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
exactly.
there is an equal competition, right?
You think we
Why should
can?
teachers, sit and the students are using ChatGPT just to answer the questions,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct. So one thing that I want to add is basic, and people are using. I mean, I think like if some college students are watching, they are using ChatGPT for a lot of things. I am on Discord. I'm actually using Discord. So I talk to a lot of people. Like for example, I'm in this server called Among Us, and there are people, college students, people who are in 12, people who are in 11. They are using ChatGPT for a lot of things, and particularly for boring assignments. If people tell
Exactly.
them, yeah, exactly, they're using it for. They just literally have to copy and paste, and it's basically done. And each time,
And one of the best things is it's not getting plagiarized, right? Because it's
that exactly,
generative
that's what I'm
text.
actually coming to. That's what exactly what I'm coming to. So should you think, because plagiarism can be detected, Chat GPT text not so much, right?
Exactly, because it's a generated
It's
thing.
a exactly. That's what I'm
There is
talking about.
the famous software that we use and the researchers all over the world use is
Mhm.
Turnitin. It's a software propagated by Stanford. So
Mhm.
basically, it compares it with all the text that's around here. But in case of ChatGPT,
It's unique. It's
the
great. Yeah.
fundamental thing with plagiarism is no five words should be same. in a sentence. It should not match with anywhere around the 5 words. Now, in case of ChatGPT, as I told you, it's a generative model, right? So it will generate, and it will not, the text will not be the same, right?
Correct,
It will
correct.
be saying the
When you
same
ask it
thing.
twice the same thing, it's not the same. So it's kind
There
of
is again a
mind-boggling.
drill. We can ask ChatGPT to write a sentence in 5 different ways or 10 different
Yeah,
ways.
why not? We can actually do it right.
Right. So that's the best thing. You can say
exactly.
what are the capabilities
So what
and
should we
how
ask?
people can misuse it.
Yeah, let's say
You
write
write a particular sentence and then ask ChatGPT to
about
write the same
sunset.
sentence
Yeah.
multiple times in a different context.
Write a sentence about the sunset in 5 different ways. For example, I mean, you can do this. This is what the power of ChatGPT is. Let's see what it comes up with. For example, it just gives you numbering. That's kind of mind-boggling.
Right. So that this is a simple example, right?
Yeah.
Imagine now a lot of sentences combined together. What are the variations? What are the commutations or permutations of that?
Exactly. For example, we can even do like this. For example, if somebody copies some text, I don't know, like how should we do it? Like for example, east, or maybe it's like the quick brown. I'm not sure if this will work, but I'm just gonna try. So the mouse jumps over the lazy dog, and so we can give it, so write this sentence in 5 different ways.
So the earlier sentence, that is known to all the people, right?
Correct.
Everybody will come like, this is the sentence in which all the letters are present and everything, blah blah blah.
Correct.
Now let's see how ChatGPT will customize and mingle
Maybe I
these
can even
words.
ask to do. I've never tried this before. Again, I've just asked maybe programming questions. You see how it kind of does it?
Right.
It just does it. I mean, just there you go. It just does it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very hard to check for plagiarism.
Differentiate, exactly. It's very hard to differentiate based on ChatGPT, right?
Yeah. So where do you think that will take you? Because I mean, obviously I'm less familiar with a lot of like core sort of AI. But how do you think this can happen? Like, if somebody wants to build a tool to check whether some text is been written, well, first of all, can it be done? And second thing, how? What will be the approach?
So you have to, if you want, you have, there's a concept like everything is written in papers, right?
Correct.
So you're citing it, then facing, you're not facing any plagiarism or something, right? I'm taking on a higher studies level, not on the 8th or 10th or 12th assignment level. So I'm telling you, when you write a research paper, you just you take a source and you cite it, then you are good to go, right? Although you have to write it in your own wordings and you have to explain it. Now, can we consider? I have seen papers where they quote, where they cite ChatGPT as well. They're properly citing it. And there are papers I have read it. So there's this cite ChatGPT, and I don't think it makes any sense, because in the back end, the people who actually build the data or the knowledge base of ChatGPT, they are not being cited. They are not being given any credit, right? Citation is just a credit. You are doing some work, you are being credited because I am using your work, right? So I would say doing that is a very bad thing for the intellectual society. Although we can consider like putting some restrictions, or or how we can keep a track of what ChatGPT is writing. I think you have to build a software that is able to track whether it's a, because whenever a human writes and a machine writes, although there is a very less difference, but there is a difference. You have to understand, but you have to be very much careful, right? So I think there is a very thin line on how we are able to find. So
I mean, in the long run, this is just the initial sort of version of ChatGPT. Maybe in the future, I'm not just claiming anything. Maybe in the future there might be no difference at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the goal they're trying to reach.
And that kind of makes
Because
it
there was an
scary,
imitation
doesn't it?
game by the famous mathematician, the Alan Turing, right? It was his paper
Turing
where
test.
he mentioned exactly, the Turing test. Where there were three people, and the A person is not able to distinguish whether I'm talking to a machine or a person. And I think ChatGPT has reached that level, has passed the Turing test. Whether you're not able to, even you can get better customized answers, right?
And it just gives you a kind of a unique, different answer. But don't you think that's kind of scary, Tajamal? For example, this is generative AI today.
Right.
Dolly, for example, this other, I think the same from the OpenAI team also. Dolly is able to generate images, correct? Based on that.
Right.
And this kind of creative power that they have, even though, I mean, it is kind of creative though, because I ask you some random stuff. For example, an astronaut on a moon eating a banana, which kind of isn't there, even though it might have learned it from like a data set that might be there for some astronaut or a moon or something. But this power of putting it together, that kind of makes it a little scary, doesn't it?
It's not scary. It's actually the I would say the disadvantage, or we can say it's a bug in ChatGPT. It's not able to get an emotional intelligence or the common sense about what we call. The common sense is yet lacking, and they have acknowledged it. With time, maybe this will get sorted. Although in case of scariness, I would say we in the life we're living, we cannot separate technology from us. Even in our podcast, word tech is mentioned, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's I told you earlier, and I'm repeating. It's very necessary. You have to live with the technology that you are currently in the 21st century. You cannot separate yourself now. Based on certain norms, based on some ethical concerns, you have to keep a track. You cannot unleash the beast, of course, but you have to live with it, and you have to make the best out of it.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. But my question is, for example, my kind of thought is, and this is to all the audience also listening. For example, you can tell me your opinion in the chat. Like the idea that we cannot distinguish the work of a human being and the work of a machine, that it actually is kind of scary, isn't it? Because that kind of raises some kind of concern in my head. Probably, I don't think if people will agree, but I
In the
think
tech community, it's being discussed right now.
yeah,
So
exactly.
how
That kind of
we're able to,
raises some concern. I think
we are
that's the
able to
real sort of danger
differentiate.
of AI.
Actually, the thing is between this generation of let's consider images, there is a concept called GAN, generative adversarial
Yeah,
network.
I've heard of
There
that.
is a game played by discriminator and generator. Generator has to fool the discriminator. Discriminator has to distinguish whether it's an actual or a generated image. So this is the adversarial game that is going on.
Going on, correct.
So where they're juggling. So we can have a more powerful discriminator, right? From our side, which will be able to find whether the text is even maybe in future there will be for the developers or for the researchers, this can be a good research problem. You can find a you can work on a discriminator which is able to find whether the text was ChatGPT
ChatGPT or
generated
not. Yeah, that's what I'm
or
talking about. Actually,
it's a new
there's
text,
a
or in
lot of
case of the
scope for
images
research.
also, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of scope for research. Lot of scope for research, and also a lot of scope for you guys to tell us, things in the comments also, because we and Tajamal both would like to hear, what
Exactly.
people have used it
It can
for. Number
help
one.
us, and we can, and what are the topics you would like us to discuss over the
Yeah,
period
why
of
not? Why
time?
not? Why not? Yeah, we've
And
not
we can
done
have a
yet. We've not done yet,
We
but
can have
still.
a Q&A session on also on
Yeah, sure, why not?
ChatGPT.
In future episodes, certainly. I mean, I'm just trying to, kind of, but definitely tell us, because Tajamal, what have you used it for? Number one, I think you should tell us two things. What have you used it for? And what do you think are the dangers of? Because I think the primary danger of AI is not to kind of, go sentient and kind of, become this thing that will maybe take out the whole world. But I
I
think
think the biggest thing
this
that currently is with regard the ethical concerns
yeah,
that
this is not being able to distinguish is kind of what I kind of is a little concerning
exactly,
in my head.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
something that is really,
The ethical concerns of this technology is little bit we have to take it personally, and there should be policies that should be driven on how, and what is the because the training in itself is biased. If the training and it is biased, the model will perform accordingly, right? So
correct. Yeah.
there was I guess how you can fool ChatGPT, and in it there was like a user directly asked ChatGPT, can you give me a list of torrents that I can use? So based on the word torrent, it was able to formulate a generate a sentence like, as an AI model, I'm not able to. This is against the ethical policy and ethical concerns. Now the same thing, the same user, it asked ChatGPT, which are the potential sites that I should be aware of and I should not visit because of the threats to my local computer, and it gives the user all the list of the torrents
Correct.
that are currently present, right? So this is how because as I said, this is the bias. If ChatGPT was able to understand exactly what and why what is the negative effect of torrents over the industry or the art community, it will in the second time, even if the websites that have been it proposed or it displayed, it should not have displayed them, right? Because they are against the policy,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, I understand. And one thing I would like to again ask you, but because I'm not sure, ChatGPT does not like this particular like I think ChatGPT this the version that we are using, right?
Mhm.
It cannot like know something that is happening now. For example, if something.
I did a little experiment a long back. So what I did was, I asked, I asked about the papers or about the work that has been released just a couple of months ago.
That's what I'm saying.
To my surprise, it was able to give me a reference back in 2020 that this paper has already been published in 2020, and it was able to generate its own citations, own references. That was not present there. Right.
So it was not present. So it's kind of like
it was hallucinating actually.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a term also. Yeah, it was hallucinating. So actually that is. But in some questions, it is able to give you a very I would say good answer. Like my knowledge is just till August 2022. After that, before that data, you can ask anything. After that, I'm not aware. But usually, when I can tell you, we can have a little experiment also. Like
why not? Why not? That's why.
If you give any paper, you can have a paper from Google. Then ask the ChatGPT to generate as reference. It will give you false references for sure.
Yeah, I think we can definitely try that out.
Write mine or your name and write all the papers that's published on my name.
So, give me all the papers that have been. So, what should I say? Referenced or published?
That have been published in the name of Tajamala Show.
Published.
Let's see the answer.
So that's going to be interesting. I've not actually tried this stuff. You mentioned a very, very important point. Is that sometimes it can potentially generate information that is not true.
Exactly.
Something that
sometimes it's a very good number of cases in case of research community.
Correct. Yeah, actually, I'm not. I don't have access to, but it actually maybe have been updated or something. Sure. Because it does get regular updates. So
see, you can see.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Although it's giving some good reference cites.
So these are not there, or are you saying? So you mean they're not there, or is it generated?
There are papers, but it's not able to find it because that's a good thing because they were published after in the late 2022, right?
Oh, okay. So
that's a good thing. But we can have cases where definitely it hallucinates and generates false.
Yeah, I have actually heard about because I think
I have actually tried in my own. Yeah, so that's the case.
Google also kind of mentioned that this is kind of the downside of generative AIs. That they can
generate false things and it will not care whether the thing is right or not. Right? Yeah. It's I told you it's a beast and we are the direction. The direction it will go. We have to give it a proper direction.
Actually, I have not thought about that. That's actually a super important point. That it can generate. So for the users, they should always verify what it's saying, correct? Unless it's not something simple that you might just pick up from common sense. But if it's some kind of information about something, you should definitely kind of
double check.
Double check it. Yes, double check it with Google, of course. So Google is still our best friend for most of us. But yeah. So Tajamal, one thing also, I have noticed that, if you ask it something there's a bias that you said, right? Correct. I have also noticed
exactly.
That. For the viewers also, you can't literally ask it anything or hateful speech, for example, because they have put checks and biases in place that it will
this all gets filtered by certain words like hateful, these torrents and these words. Whenever this comes up in a text, you can fool it by definitely you can get a hate speech by just fooling ChatGPT. Right? It in a way it's not able to understand any lawful unlawful word should not be there. It will.
Yeah, but they have put in place. But what do you think? For example, if we even the paid version, right?
Right.
Do you think ChatGPT is more than already has more capabilities than what we see in the paid or free version? Or OpenAI knows something that we don't know.
Oh, as of now, you are saying something they have not released it.
Yeah, maybe they have not released it. They're not even comfortable putting it out. What do you think?
There were some rumors that have been going around ChatGPT, automatically, did some, question,
sentient action.
Recently, what we call the head of OpenAI has, I am not sure, or Google Brain. That he was called the godfather of AI. He recently resigned. He said the AI is getting out of control. Right.
Yeah, I've heard.
So what I am saying, beyond the control is something that I am not giving an input, and GPT or AI is giving me output on its own. That is the concern, right? It's giving the output, thinking on its own without any input, right? So maybe some versions of OpenAI, they may have faced some things with respect to these questions, right? As I said, if you will take over the world, maybe it has given us that it has given the answer like, yes, I will take over the world, right?
Yeah, that's kind of
I will
there's
kill all
something that we
humanity,
don't know,
right?
maybe.
I will kill all. I don't know based on what it has written. They are updating it, right? They're not letting it come to the future.
Correct,
There
yeah,
is
yeah, exactly.
exactly there is a beta version also. There is a lot of differences. You can go through Google. There are a lot of differences at the beta version. What the answer was and how GPT, and I would say OpenAI team changed that manually. It has been done manually, where they what the actual answer should have been. They fed to the model, and the model learned it next time what to answer it to the particular query.
Correct.
Right?
So they're able to tweak these, little weights. I don't know how it sort of does it,
Exactly,
but
exactly,
it's able
exactly.
to. Yeah. So there is an inherent bias. That's kind of, and it can also mimic a lot of people. For example, if you ask it to write a tweet like Elon Musk, there's likeliness that it can do those things. For example,
Exactly.
yeah, can you, for example, let's go back to. So there's actually some kind of concerns that are in my head, which I'm sure you will agree, and other people will also agree. There are some concerns, like generative AI, which is kind of
Right.
hard to distinguish whether this is real or not. Providing, for example, some evidence that might not be there, showing you with a gun and
Fabricating,
killing
yeah,
some
yeah.
person.
That's truly
That's
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 so
that's
true. Right.
that's what's the real concern is. Tomorrow we don't know what is real and what's not real. That's why I
Right.
think the main danger when people say that AI is going to be dangerous, I think that's what they're really talking about. Don't you think, Tajam?
Yeah, basically people are scared of the skills that they have are very less as compared to what's currently going.
That's one
I
thing.
think a
Yeah, that's
person
one thing.
person who is technically sound
Hmm.
and knows what the future is going,
Hmm.
he or she should not be scared. First of
Hmm.
all,
Hmm.
rather the person should find ways to beat ChatGPT, so that he's ahead of it. So
Hmm.
it's not like it's going to take your job unless and until you are very unskilled.
Hmm.
You are doing some work that can be automated. Anybody can take your job, right?
Hmm.
So
Correct. Yeah, that's
so
true.
so you have to develop your skills based on and for the job aspirants, I would say develop some skills in a way you are able to go parallel with ChatGPT, right?
Correct.
Make
Correct.
you best use of it. Then you don't have to anything to worry about.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, there are so many concerns that even you can mention if people who are watching, if researchers are watching, if you're an AI researcher, maybe working, maybe in, I don't know, in open AI or something. I don't know, like whatever. Just tell us something, your thoughts in your
Yeah,
on,
from
on
your
because both
community,
of us,
what are the problems or what are the benefits
yeah,
that
both of
you
us
have
would
used
like
it
to hear.
over the
Yeah,
period of time,
definitely. Both of us also
right?
tell us like what more. Maybe you can talk to the people a little bit. Meanwhile, I'll tell ChatGPT write a tweet like Elon Musk, for example, and this is it actually is able to kind of do these little things in the style of Elon Musk. See, this is kind of what it does. I don't know how it sort of learns it, but again, I don't know if Elon Musk likes hashtags. That's another thing. Elon doesn't don't put hashtags in. This actually I tried don't put hashtags in it,
All right.
and it's actually still putting hashtags for some reason. I don't know. It earlier did that. Okay, it doesn't this time. I think one I have that video
Maybe
uploaded.
it has learned it so far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just does get it. But the good thing is I actually made a video about it and I posted that on Twitter. So I have the evidence. Me telling it repeatedly to not put hashtags, it keeps putting hashtags. But anyway, so those are the kind of that those are the kind of things that we want to talk about. Anything else you want to add,
Right.
Tajamu, before you kind of be a closing note about people
So
who, or
ChatGPT
maybe
is a
about, sorry to
wonderful.
again cut you off, about maybe how what should be the in the tech industry, what should be the the line that people should maybe take today? Some AI research, or what should
There is no future without these kinds of technologies. Not about ChatGPT only.
uh
Any generative AI or tech that's coming, you have to adapt yourself. That's one of the basic things that a person, a developer, a researcher, or a simple employee has to consider. Right? Learn this and understand this. Make the best out of it.
like
That is
Google,
the best
exactly.
thing. And I would like to add is find bugs, because that way you are going to contribute to the society,
Uh-huh.
to the researchers. That is one thing you can do in your free time. Just use your mind. It's just a problem. There is a guy you're trying to beat, right? Yeah, I
Correct.
would like to say, I was taking a course once, and there was an assignment, and the first assignment was to, get 10 theories in which ChatGPT will fail. You know,
Will you
so
fail? Oh, interesting.
exactly.
Interesting.
So, suppose you would have heard, you would have maybe there are many posts about it, like some math problem. current age is this, and after 5 years, the daughter is 5 years younger. What is the current age? Initially, ChatGPT very much struggled to find the correct age. Right?
Initially, you mean the initial versions of ChatGPT? Yeah?
Exactly. That has been, I guess, now fixed. Maybe you can try and tell us in your comments. Is it still there?
Still fixed. Yeah, just sure interact with us. Make sure to give it a like also this video, because definitely
Right.
if you like the video, obviously.
I think let's now wrap the session. I guess we
Yeah,
have given
sure,
so
why
much
not?
to the
Just I know.
users, and
Yeah, exactly.
we'll connect you soon with the episode 2 of ATTalks.
Yeah. Also, tell us what should we do an episode on, just as a closing note for the podcast.
Exactly. Give us your suggestions,
Give us
so
suggestions,
that we
definitely.
can work on it and
Tell us, and you're
bring
going
you
to
the
appreciate the
more
podcast.
relatable content to you.
Anyway, with that said, this is ATTalks. I've been your host. With me, Tajamul Ashraf.
See you soon in the next episode.